Hello there, friends, and welcome to the Fantasy Maverick podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about 3 late-round targets, which offer tremendous upside for this fantasy season, so stay tuned for that. I also got an important update about my draft tool app, My Perfect Fantasy Draft. It's now in beta and ready for you to use today. Here we go.
Listen up. It's time for the Fantasy Maverick podcast, starring the guy who's going to help you win that fantasy championship, Jimmy Maverick.
Hello there, friends. It's Jimmy Maverick, and welcome to the Fantasy Maverick podcast, coming at you from Santa Fe, New Mexico. And we got some news to talk about today. Today, we're going to be talking about late-round targets in the draft. These are 3 players that popped out at me once I got my app into beta form, which we'll talk about in just a second here. But these are 3 late-round guys you can get, super easy to get, super late in the draft. All of them have upside, at least flex upside for this season. So stay tuned for that. But first thing I want to talk about is I need to make a correction from my last podcast where I was talking about streaming defenses. And I happened to recommend that you should take the Chargers as they were going to be playing the Bengals in week 1. But I was mistaken because I thought that the Chargers were playing at home on week 1. As it turns out, they are actually playing in Cincinnati on week 1. So because of that, obviously, I know that there's a real problem when West Coast teams have to travel to the East Coast and play the early game. And lo and behold, it is a 1 o'clock kickoff, 1 o'clock Eastern. So basically what that means is that I have to rescind this recommendation. I can no longer recommend the Chargers for week 1. And of course, week 2, they've got Kansas City. So I don't want to play them for week 2 either. So at this point, the Chargers are off my list. But you know what? I am going to make a recommendation right now that the Bengals defense is a great streaming option for week 1. And I'll tell you why. I mean, along with the whole fact that it is a home game, and we're making the Chargers travel across the country for an early kickoff to play them. But you also have a rookie quarterback on the Chargers side, right? You got Justin Herbert. And if it's not going to be him, it's going to be Tyrod Taylor. Let me tell you that both these guys are going to cause turnovers. There's going to be turnovers during this game. And even though I don't think very highly of the Bengals defense, sorry, Bengals fans, matchups make all the difference, and this is a great matchup for the Bengals. I am projecting right now that they will pull the upset on this game, the first game of the season, which will be nice for them, nice for Joe Burrow. But like I said, at this point, go ahead and try to get, start the Bengals defense for week 1. And this is a team, you don't even need to draft them. They're completely undrafted. Nobody's going to be taking the Cincinnati Bengals. But I'm looking at these things here and I'm thinking, you know what? There is opportunity here for the Bengals defense. So why not take advantage? Why not? So that's my correction from last week. So thank you for that. Now, the big news for me is I'm very excited because my draft tool, My Perfect Fantasy Draft, right there, you see the icon right there. And I now have this app in beta for the 2020 season. So what I did this past week is I was finally able to get all the data, all the 2019 data and updates into the system. So teams have been updated. The stats have been imported. The rookies are in there. I've got all the projections in. It's running the calculations for the value rankings, and the reliability and the consistency rankings are in there. So this is basically phase 1 of my 2020 update. Hopefully everything will be done by June. That's when it should be done. But it is now in usable form for your fantasy draft. So I invite you to go to my website, which is fantasyfootballmaverick.com. Hold on here. I'm just going to, there we go. fantasyfootballmaverick.com. And when you log in, you can either click here to start the app. You can click there to start the app. You can click here to get the app, or to try a free trial, you can click there. So this app is now in its fifth season, I think. I think we're in the fifth season now. Again, completely changed the game when it came to me winning my drafts and in turn winning championships. I've always told people that before I created this app, I would always blow it in the draft. And that was my weak point. That was where I was weakest. I felt that the analysis and information you can get for the draft is just way too broad to be of use. So I wanted to create something that was more customizable and would allow you to really focus in easily on what players you need to get for the upcoming season. Now, when you finally log in, now here's the thing to say. For those of you out there that are watching this that are subscribers that subscribed to my app last year, your subscription is still active. It's a 1-year subscription, so it's still active. So you can go in there, utilize the full features of the app, and I invite you to do that. For anybody who has not done that, who has not subscribed, you can still get into the app. You can still see a limited, restricted version of the app where you can look at the standard points list of players, and you can utilize the draft mode system for 12-team leagues. Those parts are unlocked, but it'll allow you to see how it works. And you can see I've got information on all the players in here. We've got some new icons this year. I'm very excited. I've added in 3 icons. I've added in a reversion icon, which is this icon right here, regression. Regression is that one. Which is for players that either set an NFL record or had a season best year on a contract year, or had an inordinately large number of touchdowns the prior year. Those are 3 types of players that can regress in the upcoming season. They get marked here as a negative because chances are they are going to not do as well as they did last season. But they are being priced on the draft board as if they were going to do as well as they did last season. So I always mark them negatively. It negatively impacts their outlook. And as you can see, Christian McCaffrey right now only has a 2-star outlook on the upcoming season, not just for the regression, but also because of the fact that he signed a big contract. And, I always say that hungry dogs run faster, and Christian McCaffrey is now a well-fed dog in the NFL. So after signing that $16 million contract. So he's got some big negatives against him. His outlook is only 2 stars as compared to someone like Saquon Barkley, who's at a 5-star outlook. And as you can see, he has a little bounce back icon next to his name. These are for players that for one reason or another, in the case of Saquon Barkley, he had an injury issue last year, which hobbled him a bit. It really hurt his overall stats. And of course, he regressed from his record-setting rookie season when he got over 2,000 yards from scrimmage. So he gets a bump. His outlook gets a bump because of the bounce back. And those kind of players are players that get an inordinately low touchdown total as compared to their volume. Players like that I've talked about, like Robert Woods, who got 2 touchdowns, or Le'Veon Bell, who got 3 touchdowns. Those are the kind of guys that get bounce backs. Or players like Saquon Barkley and Alvin Kamara, who again were hobbled by injuries. It hurt their production last year, and really they are looking to bounce back strongly this year. So that's a positive. And then the third one I have, which is just a little bit down the list. Let me just scroll down just a little bit here to my first breakout. I've got a little fist bump icon now, and that is for breakout players. And in this case, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the rookie running back for Kansas City, is a breakout for me. Again, bonus to outlook, bonus to value, and you will see players peppered throughout the list with the breakout icon. It's mostly players that have not done anything yet in the NFL, but are primed to really come out this year and make a splash. Okay, that's what we're looking at. So those are 3 new things in the app, and like I said, you can access the app and check it out. Likewise, also the reliability and consistency rankings, which are right over here on this side of the draft. You can take a look and see how your players ranked according to that. And again, then take the app into draft mode, try it out on a mock draft, see what you think. I'm telling you, it's really going to raise your game, and it really helps you easily find the best players at each and every round of your draft, because that's what draft mode does. It breaks out the list by your draft position and the number of players in your league, and it just takes you through round 1. here's the best players. Round 2, here's the best players. Round 3. So again, please check it out when you get a chance. And if you like it, if you've tried the free trial and you want to subscribe, 1-year subscription is only $9.95 to access the app, unlimited access. And that is a deal because on July 1st, it's going up to $19.95. So you definitely want to take advantage of that. So that's my plug. That's my big commercial. But it's kind of my passion project. This is something I've been working on for years, refining it, making it better each year. And again, it's completely changed my game. Before I had this app, I had 0 fantasy football championships. Since I've created the app, I am now at I'm at 7. I'm at 7 championships now. So that's not too bad. That's pretty good. And those are all money leagues, by the way. They're not free leagues. So I'm playing against motivated players. So let's go on to what we're talking about today, which is late round targets. Now, again, with my app, I just put in the data and then I look at the results, and these 3 players all popped out at me as saying, hey, these are guys that you definitely need to target late in your draft. So these are players after pick 100, so they're easy to get. Actually, these guys are very late in the draft. So these are players you're going to get in the very latest rounds of your draft. And so let's start out with a rookie who I had nothing on my radar until I did this yesterday, and I put him in. But he popped out. This is a guy you definitely need to get in your draft. His name is Antonio Gibson. Gibson, like the guitar, just remember it that way so you can remember it. The guy is currently going at ADP 186. And who is Antonio Gibson? Well, he is a new running back for the Washington Redskins. And he was actually drafted in the 3rd round as a wide receiver. But this guy is a do-it-all guy. He is going to run. He is going to be a running back. He is going to be a receiving back, and he's going to do special teams. So he's basically being inserted into Chris Thompson's role in that offense. And as far as I'm concerned, when you look at this backfield in Washington, it's a mess. I mean, it is truly a mess. You've got you've got Adrian Peterson, who is 35 years old this year. And you have Darius Geis, Darius, I'm not injury prone Geis, who has played a grand total of 5 football games in 2 seasons. We're talking, there's not a lot of competition in the backfield for him to carve out a sizable role for himself. Now, I do not think this guy is a workhorse, nor do I think he can become a workhorse on this offense, but this guy can become the premier player in the backfield, the one you want to own. Now, I'm seeing very robust usage here. I'm projecting him right now at 59 rushes, along with 40 receptions on about 60 targets. So he's already, at about 120, 130 opportunities with the ball, plus special teams. So he might be able to get you another touchdown or 2 during the course of the season. Of course, he's more valuable in a league that gives you points for return yards. But we're talking, I've got him projected with 3 touchdowns, and that right now he is currently valued as a low-end RB4. He's kind of like the about RB 45 right now. But again, it's the upside and opportunity that I'm seeing here. And the fact that you can get this guy in the 14th or 15th round means that you should take advantage, man. You should definitely take advantage of getting somebody like Antonio Gibson late in your draft. Like I said, he was just lit up, and when I just put him into the app, so I've got him as a breakout candidate, and he's definitely heavily featured in those later rounds of the draft. If you're in my draft mode system, you'll see him right at the top of the list. He's going to be right there, so you know when you need to take him. Now, my next player is a player who really came out last year, did very well, even though he didn't even do anything until week 6. And again, his ADP is fantastic. Alan Lazard, wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers. Now, of course, with the Green Bay Packers, you got to think, man, is Aaron Rodgers ever going to have a fantasy-worthy wide receiver 2 on his team? I mean, it hasn't happened since the days of Jordy Nelson and Devontae Adams, and that's been years now. So I think this is the year that he could potentially get someone to be fantasy worthy as a number 2. Now, Rodgers has already spoken very highly of Lazard, very much likes him. He had a pretty good season last year. Again, he got 52 targets in 10 games. 35 receptions, 477 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So again, that was it was a great introductory season. Obviously, not fantasy worthy, but right now, what I'm looking at here is if we just project that kind of usage, like not even include him gaining a larger role on that offense, but over a 16-game season, we're talking 80 targets. 56 receptions, 751 yards, and 5 touchdowns, which currently places him just outside of flex value. He's a high-end wide receiver 4 at about, I think he's like wide receiver 38, 39. So he's like right on the cusp as is right now. You can get him in the 13th or 14th round of your draft. I absolutely think he's worth a pickup here. Green Bay did not take any receivers in the draft, right? They didn't see a need to. Why didn't they see a need to? Well, I think it's probably because of someone like Alan Lazard. I think he is going to do very well this year. Certainly has tremendous upside from this draft position. So it's another guy you can target late in your draft. Easy to get this guy, and I say go for it. Why not try at this late point in the draft and try to get yourself a guy like Lazard? Now, my third guy is actually starting to get a lot of buzz, and I can understand why. He's still relatively cheap on the draft, but I like him, man. I've got him marked. By the way, I got all these guys marked as breakouts because after doing my analysis, I'm like, these guys are clearly all breakouts. Yes, so they are all marked as breakouts in my app. So they're going to appear very highly on the draft board on the rounds when you should be targeting them. So my third guy used to be on the Baltimore Ravens, but he got traded to Atlanta. It's Hayden Hearst, the tight end, currently going at ADP 132. And, of course, he was just unable to carve out a significant role for himself in Baltimore because Mark Andrews did that. But he is an elite tight end. He was drafted in the first round. He's entering I believe he's entering his third season this year. And, let's talk about Atlanta, because Atlanta, obviously, prolific pass offense. And they utilized Austin Hooper, who is no longer on the team, who is now in Cleveland. But Austin Hooper got 97 targets in 13 games last year. He was the top fantasy tight end for the first half of the season until he got injured. He got injured in like week 9, I think is when he got hurt. And that's when he missed some time. Then he came back. He wasn't nearly as effective, but he was still getting a lot of usage. And so this is the kind of usage here that can really get fantasy players excited because it points to a ton of upside for his value. Now, I currently have him projected with 80 targets, with getting 56 receptions, 637 yards, and 4 TDs. This makes him, right now, I have him valued as my 12th most valuable tight end. But he is ahead of bigger names like Austin Hooper, TJ Hawkinson, and Mike Gesicki. So I like Hayden Hearst better than all those guys right now, especially for value. And he's got a late 11th round price tag. But last season, something I just want to talk to you about is that Austin Hooper was on track for 120 targets last season. 120 for a tight end. It's the same offensive system. It's the same offensive coordinator, same coach. Again, the upside here is tremendous. I love Hayden Hearst. Definitely get this guy on your target list. And I would just think to just bypass all those early tight ends and just go for Hayden Hearst. He's a lot like Mark Andrews was last year, where Mark Andrews was also very cheap on the draft board, but I was just seeing tons of utilization just because of the offensive system in Baltimore. I knew he was going to be the main guy, the main receiver on that team. Now, obviously, that's not the case for Hayden Hearst. He will not be the main receiver on this team, but he's going to have a significant share of this offense. And again, I think TE12 is his floor. He can go up from there. So he's absolutely, all these guys, man, you can get them all. They're easy to get. This is the last part of your draft, your last 5 picks. After pick 10, It's mostly just garbage picks and dart throws. These guys are dart throws plus, man. I've talked about like, how you call them lottery tickets, but these are like lottery tickets where you already have like 3 or 4 of the numbers. You know what 3 or 4 of the numbers is, and you only need to guess 2 instead of 6 like everybody else. So absolutely worth the pick. So thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this today. Please go to my website, Fantasy Football Maverick. Sign yourself up to check out my draft tool. Really, seriously, it will change your game. You will vastly improve your performance on draft day. When you're in a live draft situation, being able to utilize this tool. It's a web-based app, so you just access it through my website. It's not on the Apple Store or the Android Store. You just access it through your browser, and you can utilize it from any web-connected device. So it's flexible that way, and it scales to whatever size screen you're on. So whether you want to use it on your phone or just keep a window open on your browser or use it on a tablet, it works on all those things. And like I said, there's the further improvements which are going to be implemented over the next month or so. But like I said, it is usable. Try it out on some mock drafts, see what you think. And obviously it's in beta. If you see an issue, you let me know. And I'm already aware of several issues. Like, for instance, it's not showing bye weeks for any of the rookies. I don't know why. I got to fix that. But you can still use it. It is still fully utilized. So thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. Have yourself a great day. And happy drafting, everybody. We're going to do some mock drafts next week. All right. So talk to you later. Have a good day.